To our dear teachers, especially our advisor, Miss Jen Magatas, to everyone who will watch our presentation, good day to all of you. I am Carla Monica Navarez.
I am Erica M. Cañeta.
I am Ira de la Cruz.
I am Katrina Claire Mariano.
My name is Jessel Irales.
And we are the Coconut Nut Group.
Thank you for that introduction, Ms. Navarez. So good day, I will be presenting you some review of related literatures or RRLs that supports our research title. So our research is about the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the productivity of grade 12 STEM student of Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Marikina during online classes. The coronavirus disease caused global health crisis that had a massive effect on how people view the world and live in our daily lives, according to Edrada E.M. et al. Malipot on 2021 stated that to prevent the spread of the virus, the sudden transition from face-to-face class to online class, which in pandemic term is the new normal, has been implemented. Despite the academic ease measures given forth by the Department of Education, many of the students finding it increasingly difficult to keep up with the demands of distance learning due to recurring challenges that have yet to be resolved. And according to Duke C, on 2018, despite of the challenges amid the pandemic, students must be productive in online learning. Studies of Digital Marketing Institute, the professors of Cornell University, Muthu Prasad, believe that the coronavirus disease COVID-19 pandemic has provided a flexible and new way of learning, opportunity, and productivity among students by learning even at home. According to Lee Lalani, there are obstacles to overcome. The Studies of Digital Marketing Institute 2018, the professors of Cornell University 2020, and Muthu Prasad 2020 believe that the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic has provided a flexible and new way of learning, opportunity, and productivity among students by learning even at home. According to Lee and Lalani, there are obstacles to overcome. Some students are struggling to participate in digital learning because of lack of reliable internet access or technology, which result in the gap that exists across countries and between income brackets within countries. 4B 2017 defines the productivity as the state of being efficient. Most students have many activities to do, and complaints and stress occur when they are not able to coordinate and manage time that reduce the rate of efficiency. According to Virtue 2021, utilizing five dimensions such as computer or internet self-efficiency, self-directed learning, learner control, and motivation for learning and online communication self-efficacy are significant among Filipino students for e-learning. Bertuccio also states that learners can also make their own decision on the basis of the sequence, pace, flow, and the amount of instruction. It is found that repeating online teaching resources based on their need was the simplest to agree with in terms of learner control of students. And according to Amadora M 2020, it takes self-discipline to be attentive and focused in a regular classroom setting. With online classes, it takes the willpowers to stay awake and focus.
Thank you, Ms. Cañeta, for introducing me. Hello, everyone. I am Ira de la Cruz, and I will present to you the statement of the problem, and I will explain to you the conceptual framework and theoretical framework. First, statement of the problem. The study aims to determine what is the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the productivity of K-12 STEM students of Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Marikina during online classes in school year 2021 to 2022. More specifically, it seeks to answer the following questions. Number 1. What are the factors that affects the productivity of K-12 STEM students in the COVID-19 pandemic during online classes in Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Marikina, school year 2021 to 2022? There are 4 variables that the study aims to determine: classroom environment, home environment, peer group, and media exposure. Number 2, is there a significant relationship between the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the productivity of grade 12 STEM students of Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Marikina during online classes in terms of the variables mentioned above? And number 3, based on the findings, what instructional guide may be proposed? So in our statement of the problem, this will be answered in the results later. Now let's move on to conceptual framework. The figure shows the conceptual framework of the study. This is the explanation. The input shows that 77 of STEM students of Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Marikina were asked in the study of the factors affecting the productivity of K-12 STEM students of Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Marikina in the pandemic during online classes, which are classroom environment, home environment, peer group, and media exposure. In addition, the process shows that the researchers utilized Google Forms in the distribution and retrieval of survey questionnaires. After they analyze the data they will gather, the data will eventually be interpreted. Lastly, the output shows the proposed output, which is the instructional guide, where they will raise awareness about the ways on how to be productive in online classes and to influence that productivity is the key to a successful life. The feedback of the participants were recognized, which helped the study to improve. Now let's move on to theoretical framework. This study is related to the theory of educational productivity of Wahlberg. 1981 was empirically tested as one of the very few theories of academic achievement. Wahlberg's theory is concerned with the factors of learning that have an impact on a student's academic achievement. According to Wahlberg's theory of academic achievement, individual students' psychological qualities and their immediate psychological circumstances have an impact on educational outcomes, such as cognitive, behavioral, and attitudinal. In addition, Wahlberg research found main key characteristics that influence educational outcomes, which the different representations are used to reflect the variables. The first 3 factors are ability, motivation, and age that represents the student's characteristics. The 4th and 5th variables are related to instruction, which is the quantity and quality, while the last 4, namely classroom climate, home environment, peer group, and media exposures, are related to psychological aspects. In conclusion, he stated that these variables have particular implications that, if not appropriately guided, could produce issues with students' academic achievement. Also, by giving variable is a significant amount of weight that can have a significant impact on a student's academic performance. And for our next presenter, here's Ms. Riles.
Thank you, Ms. Ira. And for the next chapter, my name is Jessel A. Reles, and I will be discussing the results of our research. This chapter contains the interpretation and analysis of data regarding on the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the productivity of grade 12 students of Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Marikina during online classes. The raw data were analyzed using the Pearson R formula to correlate the 4 variables, which are classroom environment, home environment, peer group, and media exposure to productivity. For the demographic profile of the students, the researchers used the Slovin's formula to come up with the samples. There were 77 participants who responded in the survey questionnaire, which are composed of male 35.3% and female with 65.9%. We have collected 11 respondents per section, as there were 77 students in Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Marikina, which is the strand of STEM. For the results of Table 1.1 in regards with classroom environment, the question, I enjoy studying and interacting with my teachers and classmates in virtual classroom, from classroom environment variable obtained the highest weighted mean of 2.75 with the verbal interpretation of agree. The question, can I learn and do different schoolworks in my own time and pace, obtained the lowest weighted mean of 2.10 of disagree. For the results of Table 2.2 in terms of home environment, results show that the question, my home surrounding, is likely to be a classroom-friendly environment for me to be more focused, engaged, and productive in every class, obtained the highest weighted mean of 3.36 with a verbal interpretation of agree. However, online lectures and recordings obtained the lowest weighted mean of 2.64 with a verbal interpretation of agree. For the results of Table 1.3 in regards with peer group, shows that the most of the grade 12 students from Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Marikina can learn better with the help of their peers in school with a weighted mean of 3. This table shows that the respondents of the questionnaires are much more cooperative when there are interactions being involved. For Table 1.4 in terms of media exposure, shows that the question number 1 gives students more access to the information that helps them with their studies with the highest weighted mean of 3.43. While on the other hand, the third question presented the least weighted mean out of the entire question with a score of 2.86. And for the last, Table 2 from the 4 given factors to correlate to productivity, the media exposure garnered the most, which affects the grade 12 STEM students. In correlation to their productivity, the Pearson R coefficient is computed, which is 0.1022. Show the positive result of having the factors having a direct relationship of two arrays with the productivity of the students. In conclusion, most of the grade 12 STEM students who are being productive were due to media exposure, followed by home environment, peer group, and classroom environment. That is all for the results, and for the next chapter of our research.
Thank you, Ms. Jess. Now let's move on to the summary. The study of the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to the productivity of grade 12 STEM students of Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Marikina during online classes was conducted to inform the students about the possible problems they would face during online classes, but still help to pursue their studies through the reminders that there are many positive things that can be experienced in online class. The respondents who are being productive were due to media exposure, followed by home environment, peer group, and classroom environment. As grade 12 STEM students answered the survey questionnaire regarding the 4 factors, which are virtual classroom environment, home environment, peer groups, and media exposure that are related to productivity, they were informed that being productive is also taking breaks. It will make them more productive afterwards because there are many students who have mental health problems, which lead them to have a learning loss. In correlation to their productivity, the Pearson R coefficient computed showed a positive result of the factors having a direct relationship of two arrays with the productivity of the respondents. Therefore, it leads to a conclusion that there is a significant relationship with the factors affecting the productivity of grade 12 STEM students of Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Marikina in the pandemic during online classes. The researchers will propose an instructional guide, specifically a brochure. This will give enlightenment to the students that there are still positive things that can be seen during the hard times. Virtual classroom sharpens each one's digital skills. It is convenient to have classes at home and can be productive anytime with the help of online lectures and recordings. Online class has taught the students to help their classmates to learn and to be a shoulder to those who are struggling. Furthermore, exposure to media improved their literacy skills, which helped them in being better at school.
Thank you, Ms. Villas. And now let's talk about the conclusion. In correlating the factors affecting the productivity of grade 12 STEM students of Kamantasan ng Lungsod ng Marikina by the use of Person R, it shows a positive result and having a significant relationship with the productivity of the respondents. And now, here is Ms. Navarez to talk about the recommendation.
Thank you, Ms. Katrina. The following are the recommendations of the researchers in this study to future researchers. Number 1, give more time in studying about the factors affecting the productivity of STEM students in the pandemic during online classes. Second, give more ways on how to be productive even during online classes, which can be an encouragement to those who stop studying and to those who are afraid to study again. Thirdly and lastly, emphasize that being productive is not doing and working all the assigned tasks. It is also about taking breaks and learning how to manage one's time. As the famous quote from our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal says, "The youth is the hope of the nation." This project will help the students to give more importance on education. It will contain ways on how to be productive even in online classes. This project will also remind teachers to be continually gentle to their students. By this, we could have better citizens that will make a better world. That's all. Thank you for listening to us. Again, we are the Coconut Nut Group from STEM 201 Maxwell.